Hello, everybody. I am Coach Bob McCraney. I am absolutely honored to be speaking to you today. Um, I am actually, I am going to I'm getting my master's degree, my second master's degree in Greenwich, England right now. So when you ask me how things were in Dallas, I honestly don't know. Um, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yay, I see
Okay.
it.
I have 5 rules for a Bob McCraney presentation. I'm not going to go through them all, but mostly I talk fast. If you need me to slow down, slow me down. Otherwise, just I'll talk faster. And if there's anything you see on my screen that you disagree with, as far like if I'm sharing something live, I have no idea what's posted on Instagram the moment I share the screen. So just give me a moment for that and we'll figure it out. Okay, so what is marketing? By the way, ChatGPT made these great logos for me. I love them. When you put a sign in front of your listing, that's advertising. Okay. By the way, the Banana Realty, they did that for me too. ChatGPT is amazing. When you put a sign in front of your listing, it's advertising. When you put a logo on your car or send out mailers, that's promotion. Okay. When you hide these things here, when you get featured in a news story, that's publicity. When you do Popeyes and hold public events, that's public relations. When you actually do listings and buyer services, that's sales. When people say they don't want to be salesy, you're not being salesy in the other parts. That's something else. You're not being salesy till you actually go show somebody the buyer services and the listings, things like that. When you put all these together, that's marketing. Adriana?
Catherine, can you say?
Thank you. So I think we use these things interchangeably when we shouldn't, is my point here. We are using these terms, advertising, promotion, publicity, public relations. We call them all marketing. Okay, I'm trying to separate these out here. In digital marketing terms, if you put your logo or your link on your profile, that's advertising. Okay, when you put yourself and your listings on videos and on your website, that's promotion. When you run a podcast or get featured on a podcast or a blog, that's publicity. When you get into responding to online comments and reviews, that's public relations. Okay. When you do your online listing and buyer presentations, that's actually the only time you're being salesy. Okay. When you run this all together, that's digital marketing strategy. Okay. We are all about tactics. We are not about strategy. And we need to get to the point that we run a strategy, not just tactics. So I'm going to go into that for just in a few minutes here. There are 2 types of advertising we as realtors do. Okay. There is presenting you as a brand. Sandra is a realtor. We always want to be talking about Sandra being a realtor. And then, oh my God, I have a house to sell. Look at me, I have a house to sell. We are always doing 2 types of advertising at once. We are promoting ourselves as real estate agents, and then we're promoting the properties that we're selling. Okay? So let's look at what they call the 4 P's of marketing. Okay? Product, price, place, promotion. Product, price, place, and promotion. We have the product, and actually we have usually 2 styles of products. We have ourselves as real estate agents. Okay. And then we have our houses that we're selling. The price, that's also 2 things we're doing. The price for me to be your agent, my commission, and then the price of the property that's being sold. And we haggle over both. All is negotiable. Yes and yes. And then we have promotion, which is how we actually promote the sale of the property, which better be more than put a sign in the yard and put it in the MLS. We need structure and strategy for the sales of the properties. We also need structure and strategy for the sale of our services. Okay. And then placement. This has to do with, first of all, the place of the property, but it also has to do with the place of where we put the ads. And I think right now we're putting our ads perhaps in the right place, but only by chance. I love the quote that I got from my professors here. Half the money I spend on marketing is wasted. The problem is I don't know which half. Half the money I spend on marketing is wasted. The problem is I don't know which half. This quote comes from the 50s when people would put things on the newspaper and on the television and on the radio. And you didn't have targeted marketing. But now we have targeted marketing. We can look at the analytics. Sandra and I have sat through many sessions where we look at analytics of stuff, and we can figure out where we're wasting. I see a hand raised. Sandra.
I added another P to the formula, which is person, because
Okay.
we sometimes don't know who we are talking to, who that person is, where is that person? How are we going to create that buyer persona, our avatar?
Love
So
it.
that's like the 5 Ps of Peter Drucker, which
Okay.
I love. But you're totally right. If we don't have the person, it's how am I going to identify their needs? Am I selling, like Tom says, to the silver tsunami? Am I selling to a first-time home buyer? Am I selling to an investor? Am I selling to a relocator? Am I selling to Bob that's
Right.
relocating from Dallas to UK, or to Sandra that's doing a crazy move, right? Person.
Gotcha. Thank you. I take that as a friendly amendment.
Thank you.
Okay, so there are different types of digital marketing channels. You have your search engine marketing, which is your SEO, pay-per-click advertising. You have your social media marketing, which is equally important. You have content marketing, which is your blogs, which, by the way, need to link back to your website. You have your email marketing, which, by the way, needs to link back to your website and your socials. You have affiliate marketing. These are people who talk about you. Okay, you have video marketing, which y'all, how many of you making reels out there? We need to be making reels and videos, reels and videos. And then your mobile marketing, which is geared towards your phones and your people out and about on their devices. You can also put in geofencing, things like that, that you can do with digital marketing on mobile. You have to understand your customer, and the digital customer is different than it used to be. Let's say if you were in real estate in the 1980s or even the 90s, digital customers are different. They are always connected. Okay, we have $1,000 things attached to our brain and we read them 24/7. We are information savvy, which is also how we can get distracted, because some people say they have information and it's what they just said. It's not really information, it's their slant. They value convenience and speed. Okay, if your website is slow or your social is slow, they're not going to hang around. They expect personalization. They want to have a product or a site that is identifying them and what their needs are. Okay, they are influenced by social proof, which means they're looking for reviews. They're looking to see on Amazon, how many stars does this product have before I buy it? Has somebody reviewed Catherine before we use Catherine as our agent? Has somebody, looked at Coach K's, sales process and said it's great? Of course they have. But my point is that they want to see social proof. They are multi-channel and multi-device. They are multi-channel and multi-device. Write that one down. They are multi-channel and multi-device. I find things on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and I am on a laptop and I'm on a phone. I rarely am on a tablet. By the way, when you look at stats for websites, you will see a lot of mobile phones, a lot of laptops, almost no tablets get to websites right now. I don't know why tablets aren't more of a thing, but they're just not coming through the statistics that way. They have very short attention spans, which is why half of you have already tuned out this presentation.
No, they haven't.
Yes, I have. Okay. They are privacy conscious. They will use DuckDuckGo. They will use their iPhone privacies. They don't want to be tracked. Okay. And they are experience oriented. If you make them feel good, if they agree with your site, if something that you do makes them feel something towards you, they will stick with you. This quote at the
Marie,
bottom
I'm
here.
going to.
Many small to medium enterprises do not plan beyond the day-to-day survival. Thank you, Catherine. Most small to medium enterprises do not plan beyond the day-to-day survival. 72% do not take action in response to future trends or crises. How many of us have been that person before, myself included? Just get up and do what we know. Don't look at the future. Don't look at other things. Just get up and keep trying. But there's new stuff out there and we all need to be aware of it. Okay? So this is I'm so sorry the font went off the page there. Content marketing support chart. This is something that I learned in my classes that I'm bringing to you today. You can take your marketing and put it on this grid between awareness and purchase, emotional and rational. The things that you're doing, the tactics you're running Are they more towards the inspire side, the convenience side, the educate side, and the entertainment side? I want you, and by the way, these slides, we can send them out here, but I want you to think about this. Most of us in real estate will only have 3 or 4 circles because we're only doing 3 or 4 lead sources, or we're only doing 2 or 3 tactics, the ones we know. Hey, I made a reel this week. I sent out my mass email. I did an open house. Those are 3 circles. What would happen if your business had 20 circles on this graph? How much larger of a business would you run? And I'm not saying you have to do each, you can hire some of this out. You know, hire to your weakness. If you're not outgoing, hire somebody who's outgoing. If you don't produce content well, hire somebody who helps you produce content. But what if you had a full marketing strategy instead of just 3 tactics you run the same, all the time? Okay. I know this is a lot. Stick with me here. There are 3 types of media that we have. 3 types of media. We have owned media. Let's start with owned. Owned media is your website, your social media channels, things that you have the password to and you control the content that goes out on them. That is yours and you absolutely control it. You have your paid media, which is your Google ads, your Facebook ads, things you put out on websites or whatever that you're obviously paying for. You own them. You control the content. You have absolute control of that one as well. Your earned media, you do not own. You can influence it, but you don't own it. That's what people say about you online, the reviews you have, the reputation you carry. You will always have somebody who's going to give you a 1-star review. I have one for somebody who couldn't get finance for a house. Totally not my fault. We have a 1-star review. As Tom says, that makes you look stronger because you're not just all 5 stars. But your earned media is critical to your success. Yes or yes. Your earned media. How many of us are out there getting reviews right now, asking people to review us on Google? Okay. And Google has tried to fix their review system. We all get that. But there are 3 types of media, and we have to pay attention to all 3. We cannot let one go. So you have your owned media, you paid, and your owned, earned, and paid. Owned is for deep engagement, websites, apps, things like that. Earned is for trust building. Okay. This is using other people's opinion of you to get business. Paid is targeted, and you're using specific channels. Okay. And with your owned, you can look at your website traffic, your engagement rate, your conversion. With earned, you can look at the sentiment. How are people feeling about me? Do they think I'm nice? Do they think I'm rude? Do they think I'm competent? Do they think I'm a bozo? The quality of what they're saying there is important. And then with your pay-per-click, with your page, you're looking at your cost per click, how quickly people are staying on your site, what's your bounce rate, things like that. Different measures for each of them. Okay, now we're going to get a little detailed here because we've already covered the 3 types of media, yes? So let's talk about how they work together in what's called the customer journey. Okay, the customer journey will normally start with a customer who doesn't know you yet. They're going to find out about you probably through, hey, I need a realtor. Do you know anybody good? And your earned media is where that will pay off. Hey, oh my gosh, you should use my friend Susie. Susie is so amazing. Okay, this is where your earned media will pay off. They're going to go look up Susie on multiple channels and see what people are saying about Susie. Okay, and so that's where your PR and your word of mouth come into play. On this graph, anything that's has a white center is earned touch point. Okay, anything with a solid is going to be either owned or paid. Okay, so think about this journey. I'm not going to go through each point of it, but I want you to think about this. If we can get people to enter our funnel in a way that they are already loving you, do we have a better chance of them actually signing on as a client and becoming a closing? Yes? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So that's why I want to give you this. It's a lot of information, I will acknowledge. In real estate terms, I'm going to skip that right here. In real estate terms, we have the same thing. I just made it a vertical rather than a horizontal. They do call it, since half of this is in the physical world and half is in the digital world, they call it phygital. And I'm a child of the 80s, so I had to put Olivia Newton-John at the top. Okay, so in real estate physical world, we have in-person events, We have mailers we send out. We have signage we put in the front yard. We have calling expireds and door knocking. Okay. In the digital side, at the awareness level, we have our website. Everybody better have a damn good website. We have social media presence. We have e-newsletters and we have videos. When we get to the interest level, we have our CMA ZMA strategy that we're all running with Jimmy Mackin's help. We have, buyer and seller classes. We have personal referrals.
Yeah, amor.
And then in the digital side, we have online reviews. We have our blogs. When we get to the decision level, we have our listing interview, our buyers meetings, and our lead calls. We have on the other side, in the digital world, we have our IDX website listings. We have our personal videos. We have our drip emails. Okay. In our client level, we do our listing prep. We go to our showings, we go to our inspections, we do our open houses. In the digital side, at the client level, we're doing listing videos, zip forms, DocuSign, things like that. We get to fulfillment. By the way, we don't get paid till blue. In all of this, we are just a volunteer until we get to the blue level. Okay. We do our closing, we do our final walkthrough, we do our closing gift, hopefully. We ask for a client review. We do our little photo at the title company with the little sign that says, I've got the best realtor. And then in retention, we're doing more in-person events and inviting, now that they've been a customer of ours, we want to bring them into our sphere. We don't want to abandon them and have an orphan client, as people call it. So we do our in-person events, we do our mailers, we do our pop-bys, we do more social media, we do e-newsletters, and we do videos. We can show you that it takes 5 to 25 times more money to get a new client than it does to retain an existing client. 5 to 25 times more time and effort to get a new client than it does to retain a client. Does that make sense? Okay. Okay. So I want to go over what's called, we have the SWOT, right? Everybody's done a SWOT, usually in our Tom Ferry business plan, which I'm sure every coach has made you do, because we all believe in it, and I do it every year with all my clients. Okay, the SWOT is our strengths, our weaknesses, our opportunities, and our threats. Yes. Okay, so I want you to think about this. And by the way, I misspelled opportunity. Wow, good, Bob. Okay, so this is, you can tell it's a Bob McCraney presentation because it's misspelled. If we think about this in a new way, there's something that takes it and calls it TAUS. If you take your strengths that you just put up there and you put them in this pink quadrant, and you put your weaknesses in the blue quadrant, and then you take those opportunities you came up and put them in orange, and then you put your threats in green, what you can do is use this matrix. And you can say, okay, of the strengths I have, what opportunities can I match with those strengths? What can I use my strengths to maximize these opportunities for me? And you come up with a little sentence about, hey, I'm going to use my amazing website to farm a new area. I'm gonna use my open house skills to go door knocking around town, that sort of thing. Then you take those weaknesses you have against those opportunities, and you say, with these weaknesses, what can I get stronger at so that these opportunities fall more into my lap? Then you do the same thing in the lower quadrants here, where you have your threats. You look at your strengths and say, how can I defend myself? Using my strengths, how can I defend myself against these threats? Okay, interest rates are going to do what interest rates are going to do. How do I defend myself against that? Well, I'm going to use my great social media channels to talk about interest, and I'm going to talk about, ways that you can maybe buy down points or, acquire somebody else's interest. What I'm trying to say, assume. That word flew out of my head, sorry. Assume the interest rates from somebody else. What can you be talking about to defend that using those strengths? And then this last category in the lower right section is with the weaknesses I have and the threats coming at me, what do I need to get better at so that I'm not wiped out, so that I'm not caught asunder in this mess? Taking your SWOT and putting into this TAUS framework is a really good way to look at your business and run this by your coach and say, do you see something I'm missing? Have you, what would you do with these weaknesses here? What would you suggest I read about, hone up on, train about, so that these threats that are coming at me are not going to wipe me out? Or these opportunities that are coming at me, I will be able to grab them and really harness them for my business. Okay? This will inform your marketing. This will inform the content you make and the marketing you do in the future. Running this sort of simple, it seems like it's hard. I hope this graph makes sense, but it really is, once you've done it once, pretty easy to do. Any questions on this so far? I know I've babbled a lot.
No, I know that people will ask though, can I get the slides? They always ask. So your answer is
Yes.
yes.
Yes. For the low price of free.
Right, free.
And now you can get a second one for your friends. No, anyway, yes.
Or
We will
I have a question.
yes.
For external threats, um is that like what we see as a threat in our own like personality, or is that like business threat? Like, can you
Okay, so when you said the word
more specific?
personality, when you said the word personality, you made it internal. These are external threats, like interest rates are going to rise. The economy is going to shift. There will be nobody, by the way, nobody in 2019 said pandemic in 2020. We all miss that. What are things that are going, there will be mergers in the real estate community,
Okay.
compression in commissions, things like that.
Okay. Got it.
Major competitor entering my market. So strengths and weaknesses are internal to me. Okay, and this, I forgot I had this extra graph here. And by the way, this is not a real estate TALS. This was on another project we were working, but it should give you an idea of how TALS should be filled out. My strengths are that I'm a good salesperson. I know my market. I'm great at coding websites. I can, I know my strengths. My weaknesses are I don't like to look at money. I don't like to do my QuickBooks. I would rather, do almost anything than that. So, be honest with what your strengths and weaknesses are. And then look at your opportunities. And these opportunities and threats are external to you. There's a new building opening up in my area. I want to sell into that. There's a new lender I want to work with. There's a new advertising scheme I want to come up with. Things like that are opportunities, but they're not about you. They're external in your market. Okay. And then threats are also external. We just covered those. And then you take the opportunities and the strengths and combine them in what's called the maxi box there. I don't like these terms, but that's what they're called. And then you look at your weaknesses against those opportunities and say, what can I do to be sure those opportunities come to me? And then when you look at what's called the maxi mini one, you look at your strengths and how to short yourself up against the threats. And in the mini, you look at your weaknesses against those threats and what you should do. What you will find, especially if you put the little S1, meaning strength number 1, and opportunity number 1 coincide here. If you put those little S's and O's in the first, behind the sentence, you will find that if you have one that has 5 or 6 things that it satisfies, that's something you should do right away. If you have one that just satisfies 1 or 2, okay, that may not be as pertinent, but when you have one of these that like, oh my God, that ticks off every one of my weaknesses and 2 of my threats, that may be something to do right now. So you can get a sense of urgency out of your marketing by doing this analysis. Does that make sense? Okay. This doesn't seem like it's about marketing, but it's all about marketing. Okay, let's talk about something simpler. Your brand. Your logo is not your brand. And for the love of God, I love all realtors. I love all people in the world. Please stop using rooftops in your logos. Everybody's got a logo with rooftop. Find something different. It's been done. Okay. The logo is the entry point into your brand. It should say something about your brand, but it is not your brand. Okay. It is a way that people identify and see you, but it does not create the brand. The brand is part of your strategy. The brand should reflect your strategy, but it is not standalone a brand. Okay. In your campaign messaging, define who and what define what you're trying to say. I am a great realtor because, finish that sentence. Not just I'm a great realtor. What makes you distinguished against other realtors? What is your core message you're trying to define and say? Okay, what's the purpose of the message I'm sending out? Are you trying to evoke trust? Are you trying to evoke friendship? Are you trying to evoke professionalism? What is your message? How authentic is it to you? Is what you're saying really good about your brand? We've seen so many brands break authenticity. New Coke. If you're a child of the 80s and the 90s, Coke totally destroyed their brand by having New Coke. We didn't know who they were anymore. We totally lost confidence. I stockpiled. I had bottles of Coke just sitting aside. Okay. Consistency. Am I putting out consistent advertising all the time? Is it staying on brand? And is it going out on a regular basis? Or do you only hear from me once a year when I decide to send a postcard? Okay. And what's the emotional appeal? Before you do any of these tactics, we need to understand what this strategy is going to be about, what the tone is going to be, and then move forward. Okay. Now you can shift from time to, you can have a second strategy, but everything you're doing as a tactic needs to fall under this. Okay. There are 4 types of advertising that people do. Okay. There's blitzing. Oh my God, we're going to hit every theme, every market right now. We're just going to flood the market with this message, and it's for a short time. And I picked Wicked because I think it's probably the best blitz I've seen in years. Everywhere, they're on every show. They've got so many reels and TikToks, and in a year they'll go away. Except for there's Wicked 2 coming out. But you get the idea that, this is for a certain amount of time. It's a blitz. They're doing an amazing job of it. Then you have what's called continuity. There's just always a little hum in the background of this message. And I picked the Charmin Bears. There's never like a big sale on toilet paper. It's just you always have that little message in the background. Okay? And that's fine. If they just got a constant hum, they don't even probably need to think too much about it because they created their strategy years ago. They're doing fine. Then you have what's called flighting. I don't like this term, but it's a blitz that happens 2 or 3 times in a year and then goes away. Toyotathon was the thing I came up with for this. Toyotathon comes, Toyotathon goes away. And you still have a little bit about Toyota, but not like, oh my God, come buy a Toyota now. Okay, now we're going to pull back. So when you have that flighting effect, it's just an intermittent blitzing. Okay. And then you have what's called pulsing, which is the combination of the constant hum and oops, here's a big sale. Oops, here, McRib is back. Okay, McRib goes away. McRib is back. McRib goes away. I think this is what we should be doing in real estate. We have the constant hum that, hey, Catherine's a realtor. You should use Catherine. And then the blitz is, I've got a house. I've got another house. Look, I sold a house. We need to have that constant hum all the time. And I think what we get caught up in is the tactic. I have a house. I need to make a reel. I need to do this. And we forget to do the hum. Or we do the hum and we miss a tactic around something we could have blitzed. Oh, I did an open house this week, but I didn't have time. I had to get everything going so quickly. I didn't make a reel. I didn't make any press about the open house, but I did it. That's great. We missed an opportunity. And here's the thing, we will miss opportunities. But if we strategize how we do this, if we have a checklist for how we do an open house or how we take in a new listing or how we celebrate a buyer, if we have that written out, we won't miss the opportunity to get better advertising. Okay? Am I still good? Anybody still out there? Great. Is this thing still working? Great. Okay. So we have different things. Who's heard of AI? Anybody? AI it's a flash in the pan. You won't hear about it next year. So you have virtual reality. Virtual reality is where you're wearing the goggles or you go into the immersive room and things appear out of thin air. It's great, but you can use virtual reality in your real estate. Okay. You have augmented reality, which is where you're looking at something in real life, but something's been either overlaid over it or, when you take the picture, something appears. At Disney, when you stand in a certain place and you take a picture, one of the characters appears behind you. That's augmented reality. Okay. You have mixed reality, which is a combination of those, extended reality, which is kind of like the large rooms that you walk into with the Monet exhibits, the immersive things that happen. There's all sorts of things coming out, and lots of them are using AI. Okay. There's feeling AI, which learns and adapts from experiences, emotional understanding, personalized relationships, and customer-centric. Okay. This is the thing that talks to you about, oh, I'm so sorry you missed your flight. How could we help you today? I'm a bot. Okay. Mechanical AI excels at automated routines, repetitive processes, and then thinking AI. which is exactly that. It's going to help you come up with conclusions and decisions and recognizes patterns and things. Each of these are different. Okay, and I'm not going to stand here and tell you which AI to use because, that's not my bailiwick. But we need to be aware of it and what it's doing. Okay, augmented reality, virtual staging. Who's used virtual staging before? Right now, I'm comparing 3 virtual staging softwares. I bought all 3, and actually, I bought 2. I'm buying the 3rd. And I'm looking at which one is best. Okay, I'm running a campaign right now. Would you buy this if you knew it could look like that? I'm not running this campaign on the specific listing. I'm running this for lead attraction. I want to get people to sign up with me. If you don't want to paint your house and do all the fixing you need to do to sell it, let me show people what the house could look like. Maybe we could sell it with the idea. And then if I can identify the furniture, the carpet, and the lamp in the picture and show people where to buy that, when they buy the house, they can also go make it look like this. I'm looking at ones that do repainting, that move a wall, that remodel the front. How can we sell an existing home as if it's a new home by using virtual reality? How are people going to want to list with me because I do this level of work for them? That's where I'm going with this, okay? You have virtual reality, obviously, with the goggles on. I've never done one of these, but this is where somebody punches the wall instead of not realizing they're still in a physical room and they're fighting the monster on there and they break the TV, that sort of thing. This is the immersive reality. Who's been to the Monet or the Van Gogh or whatever, and you walk in and it's just everywhere. It's just everywhere. Okay. We have different sorts of digital marketing activation, okay? Content creation and distribution gets one sort of a group of, oops, excuse me, go back here. One group of, wow, I'm going too far. Okay, come back, control. Okay, sorry, loose nut on keyboard here. So content creation and distribution, we have search engine optimization, we have social media engagement that we have to track. We have to track email marketing and see how many people are actually opening it. By the way, I don't get paid by any brand. I think BombBomb has some of the best open rates out there. Pay-per-click advertising, we have to watch that. Our influencer partnerships, if we have an influencer. And by the way, influencers can be very local. They don't have to be the big rock star doing your influencer. It can be the person who's just a chatty Cathy in town. Take them to coffee, get them to talk about you. But watch how that influencer acts. Be sure that they're acting in a way that still represents your brand well, okay? Now, this is the history of social commerce. Who's heard of social commerce as opposed to e-commerce? Social commerce is people buying off of social media sites. This doesn't really apply to us as much because we're not selling houses through Facebook. We're using Facebook as a tool, but we're not using Facebook as a channel for that. But TikTok Shop has grown tremendously, and they're about 1/3 of the social marketing right now. So I have not been a huge TikTok person myself, but they have it down pat when they're selling things. So be thinking about the channels here. And this is going to get to this next part here. And I'm going to wrap up and take questions. I'm good on time still. Okay. In the Social Styles Handbook, we have the 4 personality types, right? Who's read the Social Styles Handbook? I know Coach K has given us all a copy and asked us all to read it. Social Styles Handbook gets into analytical, driver, expressive, and amiable. Analyticals love charts and graphs. They don't start a project till they know exactly where it's going to go. They don't have a lot of conversations because they're always thinking in their mind. By the way, when they're mad at you, you will never see it coming. They have plotted your demise, and it'll just go by plan, and you'll never know it was them. Drivers, quick, to the point. I don't want to have a conversation about it. I've already decided, gut level decision. They come across as rude. When they're angry with you, they walk up, they tell you, and they walk away because they're done. They're going on to the next thing. They just want to have the high points, quick decisions. Expressives, I love catching up with you. We haven't chatted in so long. Let's sit down and have some more wine. I want to hear about your vacation. I just love talking to you. And when I'm upset, I need to explain to you why I'm upset. And you need to reflect it back to me because I need to talk to you about it and work it through. Amiables. I don't care. Wherever you want to go is fine. Let's just go out and have fun. I don't want to have conflict. I just want to be hugged in the middle. And when I'm upset with you, I'm going to tell my friend to tell you I'm upset because you should know you hurt my feelings, but I don't want to have conflict. We all fall into one of these. We have a dominant and then we have a dominant and not recessive, but we have a stress personality. I'm an expressive who goes driver. Under stress situations, I go right to driver. I tell everybody what to do, and then we're going to talk about it afterwards because I need to explain it. We're usually attracted to somebody diagonal. So I'm an expressive who usually ends up dating an analytical and driving them crazy, and they drive me crazy, but that's what happens. Okay? We all have a little bit of each. Think about this for yourselves, but also think about which social media platform goes with each personality type. We are shoving everybody at Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. They might excel at LinkedIn. They might excel at Pinterest. Okay, this is a personality. Each of these, I mean, they'll work with all the personalities, but each of them have something different. So each of them should be used differently. Does that make sense? You may not be the best person on Instagram, but you can dominate YouTube or you can dominate Threads. Okay. Yes, still have Twitter on here because I that's what I call Twitter. So think about this with your personality type. Also think about the fact that in CRS world, in Certified Residential Specialist, we're given 4 different personality types who buy homes. Okay, so I'm taking Social Styles Handbook and CRS and kind of laying them over each other. Okay, the belonger wants to live in a tract community or a place that, you know, it's good to raise the family, and they want to be near churches and schools, and they love tradition. They want a dining room large enough to host the family reunion. They want to be in the middle and just be, you know, the family glue. Then you have the emulator who's up to their eyes in debt. They live in the trendy community near the nightlife. They've got the flashiest car and the newest iPhone, and they want to live in that mixed use condo community. Okay. You have the achiever who wants a house that you can't afford, something that shows they've arrived, gated community, golf course home. You know, they've got their expensive car in the front. They don't want to be like everybody else. Every house is different. And then you have the socially conscious who will buy a property based off the fact that it may fit their category. They may love solar panels. They may love whatever, you know, different styles of living or different styles of construction. They will pay extra if it fits their socially conscious objective. Think about this again with the same chart of social media sites. If you have a house that is an achiever house, it's in a gated community with the golf course view and the pool and the 7 bedrooms, don't put it on a site that's for belongers. Okay? Don't put it on a site that's not going to sell it. Put it on a site where those people are going to be looking for homes. I'm not saying don't put yourself on Instagram or don't put yourself on the other site, because that's the hum of you being a realtor. But when you're selling the house, maybe try to market in a place that somebody who would be looking to buy that style of house will be naturally browsing. Does that make sense? Okay. Okay, so here's examples. Bless you, Sandra. Here's examples. You have the socially conscious house with the solar panels. You have the achiever house in the golf course sort of community. You have the emulator living in the mixed use, trendy area near all the nightclubs. And you have the belonger who's in a traditional sort of neighborhood. That's where we need to be thinking about where we market our properties. Thank you for attending my TED Talk. I got through that faster than I thought I would. So any questions?
I'm looking over here. I don't see any questions.
I have one. I posted one. It says, hi, I'm Luz. I use virtual staging AI for virtual stage. And I wanted to know if you have any other one that I can remove furniture and paint when the house is occupied.
The house is occupied. The virtual staging companies that I'm using right now, and I'm using this for my class. So the one I've been using the most is virtual staging AI.
That's
But it's owned by Zillow, so some people may or may not like that. There's another one I'm using I'm not so fond of because it doesn't seem to work as well, which is Home Designs AI. By the way, I don't take any money to say anybody's names. Okay. I think, and then the last one I want to say is
AI.
Yeah, that's the site, Home Designs AI. The third one I'm about to sign up for. I don't have any recommendation on that yet, so I don't even want to say their name yet. I like them a little bit better because they do a little bit more of the redesign work, like moving a wall or retexturing, the whatever the carpeting, they do a little bit better on that, but they don't produce that many output pictures. The one we were talking about, actually, you can just sit there and produce tons of output pictures, but it
Awesome.
doesn't do some of the remodeling steps that I'm looking for. So I may end up playing one or two or three against each other and seeing what I can make.
Okay, sounds good. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Good question.
What was the name of that marketing company you said? Was it Bong Bong, or what was the name of it?
BombBomb it started out as a way to send videos by mass email. BombBomb is a mass email company like MailChimp and Constant Contact. I've had Constant Contact before. My open rates were not that great. Every time I signed up for a Constant Contact account, when I uploaded my list, they froze my account because they were just absolutely sure I had paid for my list when I hadn't. So I struggled with them for about 2 years. I moved to BombBomb. I don't remember if it was Tom Ferry got me to somebody got me to BombBomb, and my open rates went way up. Okay. Now, I don't tend to put a lot of videos in my, well, I do. I say that, I take that back. Every week I have a video in my BombBomb, but I'm using YouTube links in the BombBomb. I don't natively upload the video into BombBomb anymore. If you did upload the video into BombBomb, it makes a little animated GIF that makes it look like the video is playing, which gets the person to click on it a little bit more. The open rates are better in my experience. That's just my experience. Other coaches may have, like Kay or Sandra or Catherine, you want to chime in here? Do you have a different product that you find is better?
I have a question, Bob. This is Tess. So to get started on all of this, right? It seemed like it's very overwhelming. Do you actually have to hire a virtual
No,
person to do this,
no.
or do I have to do this on my own?
Step one. What is your marketing brand? What is your brand? Okay, let's take all the social media steps, the tactics out of the way right now. First thing is, why am I a realtor?
Okay.
Okay. There's something in economics called the substitution principle. If
Uh-huh.
and by the way, I'm in a hotel, so I have two of these here. If I sell you this spoon,
Uh-huh.
or I sell you this spoon, and one is $5 and one is $4, how are you going to determine which spoon to buy? You're just going to, there's a high rate of substitution between spoons. They're generally all the same. So
Mhm.
you go maybe for the one that has the right price or the one that has the right design on it. People think realtors are substitutable. If I can't get Tess today, I'll just go out and see houses with Eric.
Uh-huh.
How do we get you to be unsubstitutable? How do we get them to look at us not like spoons, but like things that are people that are actually skilled in the job? So your brand is important. Why should somebody hire a Test? You and your coach need to sit down and talk about what makes you irreplaceable so that somebody will walk past 3 other agents to get to you. Then, after that, you come up with tactics that actually fulfill that brand. Okay.
Mhm.
So the brand and then the strategy. The strategy would be, how do I express why somebody should walk across 3 other agents to get to me because I'm unique? And then the tactics go into that. The tactics are, I'm going to make a reel. I'm going to send out an email. I'm gonna, do door knocking. I'm gonna do flyers. Those tactics hold up the strategy that supports the brand that you just developed. You don't need to hire a virtual assistant until you get to tactic level.
Mhm.
But what most of us do, and I myself included, is we just come out and start throwing tactics at the wall. I made a video, I did a reel, I'm walking up and down my streets, but I have no strategy.
Got it. Got
I
it.
have no reason for now I have developed my brand, so I'm saying I just in general, but you have to have these things before we just start tacticking the world. Because then we're
Okay.
just flailing around.
Right. Right. Okay.
So
Good.
don't hire the VA. And by the way, I don't know who's your amazing coach on here, but don't
Okay.
hire.
Okay.
Okay, don't hire the VA until they say you're ready.
Mhm.
Now, if you've already got your strategy and
I
you're
do have I do have my VA already doing my social media.
okay,
But the thing is, I actually attended the Tom Ferry, the listing in Orange County, and it was amazing. But I got
good.
so overwhelmed that I don't even know where to start.
Chunk it down, small steps.
Uh-huh.
Chunk it down, small steps. But as you're integrating in the listing strategies that Tom is saying, or any of the things that Jason is teaching, or any of the things your coaches are saying, how do each of those serve your strategy and your brand? Okay, make them unique. Okay, everything they're saying from the stage is amazing. How does it apply to my strategy? How does it apply to my brand? And then you and your coach can come up with the tactics that you go out and execute with you or your VA executing them for you. Because if
When
your
you
VA,
mean, yeah, when you mean brand, you create a brand yourself. Are you talking about like what type, how you would set up yourself as far as the difference between you and the other agent? Is that what that,
yes, what differentiate? Why should I hire Tess instead of Marco?
what's
Why
your
should I hire
value?
Marco
what-
instead of Alana?
What's your value proposition is what you meant, right?
That's
Okay.
another way of putting it. Yes. Every
Oh,
one of us is unique, but most of us are seen as substitutable resources. We're not. That's why we have commission compression, because people think we are all just the same.
yeah.
We have to teach them why you want to work with me versus working with somebody else. Okay? You have to have a very well-developed brand, because if you're just out there doing tactics, we're flailing around.
Mhm.
Now, you may make money at that. I'm not saying it's a bad, we probably all have a career that was built on just throwing out tactics. But if you can line it up with a strategy and a brand, you'll be further along.
I see. Thank you.
Any of the other coaches want to add into that? Because I'm just,
No, I just think this is fantastic information. And Tess, I get you because we had Jason over in Orange County on Wednesday, and oh my goodness,
Yeah, it was so
Oh.
awesome.
so much
I
information.
couldn't sleep that night. Oh my
Yes.
God.
If anybody gets a chance to go to Listing Edge, by the way, a little plug to Tom and the team, that is such a fantastic road show going on. And wherever you can go near you, go to Listing Edge. It's fantastic. So right now they had a LA yesterday. So I was just going to say, Bob, this is all so important and so relevant right now. And
Thank
so
you.
I don't, Kay, are you on right now? I think you
Yep.
are.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was just
Yay.
gonna say, you guys bring up a good point because it can be overwhelming. And Bob and I just had a conversation. Bob was working with me a couple of weeks ago on some of these things, but it always goes back to here's the big picture, but now we've got to break it down into bite-sized pieces. That's why he says go over your strategy, Pick one thing, and I'm right there with you. Going every time we go to Thomas events, we come back overwhelmed, right? We want to do it all. But I go back to, you're absolutely right, Bob. We got to take one thing at a time, work it through. Another thing, we're not going to do this overnight. This is a long-term play. And thank you so much, Bob, for coming sharing. You've got so much wisdom and so much knowledge that again, we're going to be uncomfortable because even Bob and I talked about there's some things in social media I'm still uncomfortable with because it's new. Everything new is uncomfortable. But just like anything else we do over and over and over again, it will get more comfortable. So this is invaluable. And as Sandra said, and Catherine, we're trusting you to get us those notes because we're all going to need them.
As my experience working with you, Coach, for 2 years now, Coach Bob, that we have gone through the school of hard knocks, very hard knocks, extreme hard knocks, and having a very big team that's doing the Mexican hat dance that we had to take them off the call. I can tell, and having a very big outsourced team and an in-house team, I have realized the huge mistakes we make in the name of wanting to do it all. And doing it all, the only thing it causes is frustration, overwhelm, and not focusing on what makes us money, which is actually prospecting. So in my humble opinion, very humble because I'm not an expert, I'm still in diapers. Thank you, Coach, for getting me out of the misery I was. I think we have to start, and I say this at the top of our digital strategy is our website. And then comes Google. Google My Business, but done intelligently, not stuffing keywords. And that's like the crown, right? if we really want to be found, and that's part of our brand, we're risking being found in Instagram. From what I've learned from you, coach, it's easier to be found on the right place, which is Google, and that redirects to your website, than trying to beat the algorithm, the Instagram algorithm, that you have to be on top of what Adam Mosseri says 24/7. Believe me, I have a group with my clients that's called YouTubers. And the other day I was going through that group and I was like, man, this is a wealth of information, but you need a team of 30 people to implement. So I would start by defining what's my brand, what's my TOWS. I paid attention, my maxi, my maxi mini, my mini, whatever, and
Yeah.
understand what are my strengths and what's my budget.
And
Because
go ahead.
you go.
When you do that analysis, which seems like it's difficult, but it's not. When you do that and you have one item that fulfills 5 or 6 of them, to Kay's point and to everybody else's point, that's the one you should go do first, not everything at once. Can I share my screen for one more thing here? And then I
Yes,
promise
please.
I'll stop talking techie stuff. Okay, so this is a sales funnel. See if I can get this to cut. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see it, Bob.
Okay, so this is our sales funnel. And we, at the top of our
No,
funnel,
we can't
Oh, wait
see.
a minute.
There
Yes,
you go.
It's
There,
just
yeah,
a
there,
second.
there. I
thank you,
love.
love.
It's a time
Okay.
delay.
At the top of our sales funnel, we have awareness. Okay. Then we have interest, decision, client, fulfillment, retention. Looks very similar to the customer journey that we were going over earlier. Our social media will help us with awareness, interest, and retention.
Mhm.
Our social media will help us with awareness, interest, and retention. Your website helps you with every level. Okay, if we are just and I'm nothing against my YouTube stars or my Instagram stars, if we just have an amazing top of funnel and we don't have a middle of funnel, we're not going to stay in business. You need your systems in the middle of your funnel, your CRM, your closing, everything you do in the middle is important. And I try to put as many brands there. I have my favorites, but everybody has a different brand. Fine, don't care. You have to have a high functioning website to support all your socials, because if you don't, and you're just doing the socials, you're only getting top of funnel and retention. Okay. So, and each one of these socials need to mirror back to your website. Everything you post needs to have a little link in there that goes back to TexasPrideRealty.com or ColdwellBankerMexico.com or whatever your thing is. You need to have everything focused back on your site. Here's a problem with that. TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube Shorts do not allow you to put links in the posts. Unless you are a special sort of user there, you cannot put in there, see more about this house at TexasPrideRealty.com, 123 Banana Street. The one that we found pays off the most is Facebook, because Facebook, you can put a link in every post. When I was doing analysis of the websites that we were going through, the Instagram and the TikToks are great. You're getting views and likes and stuff. But when you have to say, hey, go to my profile to find the link, most people don't go to the profile to find the link. They scroll to the next thing. Facebook actually showed traffic coming to the website. Facebook was a better engagement engine. Thank you.
And Facebook has Facebook forms. And I love Facebook forms. And it's way easier to do custom and lookalike and geofencing than Instagram. And if you're not a total expert, park YouTube for now. So yeah, coach, if you're not a total expert and you don't understand optimization and you're not going to post consistently and you're going to post one home tour a year.
Okay, that I'll yield that to you. I'll yield that to you.
If you're going to be consistent, if you're going to post at least 2 times a month, if you're going to use TubeBuddy, YouTube Studio, all the things, I'm talking as like my coach tells me, mate. So like you were getting so British, mate and love. So
Yes.
let's do that correctly. But if you're gonna post one short to YouTube and you're gonna name it beautiful, 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 what you're dreaming about, don't do it.
Yeah. You're right. You're right. You're right.
Ah.
The one thing I will say is that so Facebook, Instagram, TikTok are cyclical. They're episodic websites. You make a post, the post gets a lot of likes and stuff, and then that post goes down. You have to make another post to get likes and comments and follows, and then you have to, that one goes away. YouTube and your Google Maps and things like that, they appreciate over time. So if you want to put up one, as Sandra's point, if you put up one a year, that's not going to help you. But if you go back and grab your old ones and re-tag them and rename them and re-SEO them, those videos can come back to life.
Yes, and become evergreen. But
Yes.
like I've learned with you, and sorry for taking over.
No, please. I invited that. I love y'all.
Learn to think in terms of keywords, algorithm, and SEO. Really, like if you are just thinking on your words and your thoughts, it's not going to go anywhere. Go to people, also ask in Google, go to Answer the Public, go to ChatGPT, download, there was an amazing document from Sierra that had the 95 top keywords for realtors, but we need to remember that those are generic. And
Yes.
but Jason once said, you have to have a noun, a verb, and an adjective, I think, or something. So you cannot just say pretty, 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 super pretty, dreamy, because that's not a keyword. Sorry.
That's what it says on my dating profile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Noah. And you have super spoiled me and my clients that are here on this call, like Marco and Nash. Boy, have I beat them down to the ground thinking you have to think in terms of algorithm,
Yes. Yes.
in terms of SEO. So start at the top where you can be searched. If you're gonna do YouTube correctly.
Yes.
Post at least twice a month. Be friends with TubeBuddy, with YouTube Studio, with ChatGPT. If you're using Listing Leads and this is a commercial, pay the $136 portion of it because it'll give you the access to YouTube and Instagram that work. So you're gonna take the
Good.
guesswork out of
No.
your life.
I have a question. Sandra, when you talked about on the Facebook and being engaged, do you really use the boosting?
Facebook forms. And Ash, who is here and I have to go, is an expert at Facebook forms. And Marco, who is drinking water up there, is an expert at geofencing through Facebook. And Ali, who's not in the call, bought a Facebook group, which was the neighborhood Facebook group. And Edna bought the neighborhood Facebook group. And I don't mean to be horrible and go against what you said, dearest Bob, but depending on your marketplace works.
Got it. Okay. Thank
Oh
you.
yeah, I'm not saying it doesn't. It's just it doesn't allow the link. Anyway, we'll talk. We can arm wrestle about that. Okay, guys, I gotta jump too. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, Bob. You're awesome.
Thank you, Bob. You're
Bye.
the best always. Thank you.